It started with an article we found about this young guy called the Forest Boy who walked out of the woods into Berlin. And he said he had no memory of his life before that. He'd experienced some kind of trauma and forgotten everything. And we thought it was interesting, the idea of this character, you know, who has no past. What can happen to someone who has no past? What can they become? What was interesting about Good Favour in terms of the evolution of it from the script to the screen is actually we thought the script was really, really tight. And so we thought there was kind of nothing kind of extraneous in it, really. But that is the weird thing about a script. A script feels like it needs more than a film needs. And sometimes a script ends up needing more than a film needs because of people reading the script and supporting the script and funding the script for them to understand what's going on. So sometimes you end up sort of explaining things a bit more perhaps in a script than you would finally in the final film. So actually the biggest change was like some whole scenes were cut that we filmed, and they weren't cut because they weren't filmed, they didn't work in the filming, they were cut because they didn't serve the story anymore, or they kind of gave too much weight to certain subplots. So ultimately when it came to the film, we decided that we wanted to stick more with Tom's through line. So the prep period on this film was 6 weeks, a 6 weeks shoot. And yeah, prep is really important. So I would work very closely with the cinematographer through all of that, and we would have built our shot list. I don't storyboard, I never storyboard, but we do like overhead plans, so you kind of have a rough sense of where the characters would be and where the camera angles are. And often that will change on the set once you start rehearsing with the actors, but for me it's really important to have that plan in place, and feel free to deviate from it, but to have that sort of backup there, I mean, I think in sort of the preparation is where the real freedom lies. Then you can kind of move away from it as much as you want once you know you have it there. So I worked a lot with the actors, and I worked a lot with, obviously, costume. It was a huge job for costume because I had to costume every extra as well. It wasn't just the lead cast. And we built the village, so that was a big part of that. And in fairness, the build of the village happened before the 6 weeks, started before the 6 weeks, because obviously that was a huge undertaking and took, you know, I think it took 3 months, the guts of 3 months, you know, to build it. It was a huge job. So Vincent Romeo, which is his name, is Belgian, a young Belgian guy. He's actually Dutch and Italian parents, which I think leads to his extraordinary look. I saw a tape of him that a casting director in Belgium did, and he was very inexperienced on the tape, but he just looked so amazing that I thought there has to be a way to make this guy work, you know. And actually he's really smart. He's not experienced at all, but he's very smart, and he learned really, really fast. And interestingly, his sort of presence and charisma and the way that he kind of filled the role really developed as through the filming process. I mean, we did a lot of work on it in kind of prep as well, but through filming, through being around the crew, through being that leading character, he just developed and developed in terms of confidence as an actor. And I think that really showed, because actually, you know, the film only works if the audience believe in the potential of this guy. So it's really was important to get that. There was a lot on his shoulders, and you know, I think he really rose to that. I didn't want to make a film that was really damning of religion, rather one that sort of explored it as part of the story of how this community functions, and there are clear benefits that you can see, and I think and I didn't want to write them off, and I didn't want to make something that was like religion is terrible or religion is great, but rather just to explore it as part of the subject matter of the film. I'm interested in the audience as quite active participants when they watch a film. I'm always interested in things that draw me towards them and lead me to ask more questions about them. And I suppose that's what I ask of my audience rather. So rather than sort of the film jumping out and biting them or telling them what to think and so on. I like for the film to have enough of a sense of a mystery in it, which has to be underlined with tension, obviously. I mean, because and has to be underlined with a sense of moving towards something. But I'm interested in exploring that, to basically ask the audience to lean in and pay attention. And I find it's really rewarding to trust an audience to do that.
Who are you?
What were you doing in there? Who are you?
You don't need to be scared. Can you tell me your name? Tom? Where were you before you came here, Tom?
I've been in the woods.
We know nothing about him.
God, in his wisdom, is allowing Tom to start afresh.
Welcome, Tom. Are you settling in okay?
Yes.
The community took me in. Everyone is taken care of here, like a family.
It hurts.
Mikkel says we shouldn't be afraid to suffer.
We're not allowed to go that far.
There's people in there with the devil on them. Isaac got lost in there.
Who's Isaac?
What were the children doing in chapel this evening?
Tom's magic.
Is he?
He can do special things.
What special things?
Let the heavens be glad.
How did you find us?
Why are you suspicious of him?
Let the heavens be glad.
We're fired!
For your people. Blessed are you forever.